Good day, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to you all. At the onset, I would just like to thank Ferroalloynet for convening this conference and for affording core consultants the opportunity to address you at this forum. China's booming economy relies very heavily on development through industry and construction, and this requires a lot of steel. Over the past 3 years, China has used over 35 million tons of stainless steel, of which 29 million tons was produced from chrome ore. As China has no chrome ore reserves of its own, it relies very heavily on imports to fulfill its stainless steel ambitions. To this end, China predominantly looks to the world's largest chrome producer, Africa. In May this year, 55% of China's chrome ore imports originated from South Africa, with a further 4% coming from Zimbabwe. In addition to importing chrome ore, China is South Africa's largest ferrochrome importer, and this year has imported on average 40% of South Africa's ferrochrome. In light of this important role Africa plays in Chinese infrastructural development, we need to ask ourselves where this relationship is heading. To this end, we have decided to divide this speech into two main parts. In the first part, we will consider the production potential of African chrome ore and ferrochrome, and in the second part, we will focus on Africa's political ideologies that may impact China's chrome ore requirements from Africa. We anticipate that the global ferrochrome outlook for 2011 will be 8.3 million tons, of which 42% is expected to originate from Africa. Going forward, as the chart indicates, we expect global ferrochrome production to increase 26% to 10.5 million tons by 2015. The majority of new capacity coming on stream in the next few years is expected to emanate from Africa, owing to a number of initiatives, but specifically to major expansions from Xstrata's Lions project and added smelting capacity at Assimacopoulos. On this slide, you can see African ferrochrome projects which are expected to come on stream in the next few years. IFM's current capacity for ferrochrome production is 265,000 tons per year. At present, there are plans to build 2 furnaces with 66 MVA capacity within the next 5 years. These expansions should increase IFM's production to 530,000 tons by 2016. Samancor is currently undertaking simultaneous energy recovery projects at its numerous operations in order to optimize production from its current rate of 357,840 tons. Samancor will make use of its waste stream in order to generate electricity at the following chrome operations: Ferrometals, Middelburg, Tubatse Steelport. At Tubatse, a 70 megawatt closed DC furnace is being proposed which, if successful, will increase capacity by an additional 203,635 tons. Samancor's environmental impact assessment was successfully completed in May this year, and if the Tubatse expansion is anticipated to come on stream at some point next year. Teresa holds the mining rights over the middle group's chrome seams of the compliant reserves, with estimated resources of 74 million and 900 million tons respectively. In 2007, Teresa announced its intention of erecting a 600,000 ton ferrochrome facility, but this project was put on hold during the financial crisis. We understand that the company has since renewed its intentions to produce ferrochrome and has secured an offtake agreement with Minmetals in this regard, though at present the timing of production and scale of operations is unknown. It has come to light, however, that Teresa plans on erecting a ferrochrome facility in Inner Mongolia in order to process its African ore. If successful, this initiative will most likely set a trend for beneficiation of South African ore by South African firms outside of the country. While at present no formal announcement has been made, if this project does go ahead, we expect it could stir up South African resource nationalism and force the government to review its beneficiation stance. The Lion ferrochrome operation constitutes South Africa's flagship project, as it will increase Xstrata Marafi's smelter capacity to over 2.3 million tons per year. Bulk earthworks to clear the ground has begun, with commissioning planned for the first half of 2013. Assmang has been phasing out its ferrochrome capacity in order to convert their furnaces to producing ferromanganese. Within 2 years, they will have converted another 2 Machado Dorp furnaces, leaving around 50,000 tonnes per annum ferrochrome smelting capacity. Negotiations are currently underway to convert their last remaining furnace, and we believe that Assmang is setting a trend among higher cost South African producers who are seeking to either close or convert their operations in order to recoup their losses. In Zimbabwe, ferrochrome capacities are expected to increase, with Sinosteel investing $300 million for Phase 2 expansion of Zamasco's operations. Phase 1, which is presently underway, will expand capacity to 235,000 tonnes per year, and Phase 2 will result in the erection of a 60 MVA furnace as well as 600,000 tonne sintering and pelletizing plants. Ferrochrome production capacity is expected to increase to 330,000 tonnes per year, and the annual mine rate will double to from 500,000 tonnes to 1 million tonnes of chrome ore. With respect to chrome ore, 2010 production increased by 7% to 22.16 million tonnes on the back of high capacity utilization levels, which increased to 75% from 71% in 2009. Growth in production from capacity additions were limited, increasing by 0.8% year-on-year. The only company to have increased its capacity in 2010 was Russia's Congo Chrome, which had installed capacity of 900,000 tonnes of chrome ore compared to 800,000 tonnes in 2009. This growth was, however, negated by the capacity reduction of South Africa's African Rainbow Minerals, whose capacity fell 50% from 1.2 million tonnes in 2009. We estimate that the 2011 chrome ore production capacity is 30 million tonnes, which is likely to increase 14% by 2015. As with ferrochrome, the majority of new capacity is expected to come from increased mining activity in South Africa. Again, we detail the projects coming on stream. Chromex was expected to commence mining at Mecklenburg in early 2011 to supplement their production at Stellite. However, owing to legal disputes with Samancor over the concession rights still needing to be resolved, we have yet to see any progress. In November 2010, Sky Chrome was awarded a mining license to replace the Lesedi chromite mine. Since then, negotiations with local communities have ensued in regards to the potential impact of the open pit mining operation in Rustenburg. On the 28th of June 2011, the company indicated that it had reached an employment agreement with the local and surrounding communities and is expected to deliver first ore to the plant by the beginning of July 2011. On the 24th of June 2011, Metmar announced it had acquired, subject to the fulfillment of certain conditions, a further 60% increased interest in Eastern Belt Chrome for a consideration of $7.76 million. Eastern Belt Chrome owns 51% of Steelport Chrome Mines and 49.9% in Bolepo Holdings, which in turn owns 40% of Safeteng Chrome. Safeteng owns a 40 million tonne LG6 deposit and produces at 240,000 tonnes per year, which Metmar plans to double. Metmar has indicated that it will beneficiate the ore at a later stage in order to improve profitability. If we only consider the 2.5 million open cost and mineable reserves, Metmar has acquired the deposit for an effective $5.83 per tonne, which may provide an opportunity for lower costs for ore exports. While Xstrata Marafia did indicate that the Townlands mine in Rustenburg had made progress in regards to exploration of this 14.96 million tonne deposit, we have yet to see any viable action which would indicate a start-up date in 2011. Given the increased material expected to come on stream from Africa, the question we need to ask ourselves now is whether the chrome ore will reach Chinese smelters. Mineral beneficiation is required in order to derive maximum value from a particular resource endowment. Africa has been plagued by companies exploiting its raw materials and obtaining the commodities at lower costs, thereafter beneficiating these materials in their own countries, eventually necessitating that Africa import those finished goods from abroad. As such, Africa has always ended up with a trade deficit, inhibiting industrialization and development on the continent as a whole. To bring development to the continent, then, many African states, led by South Africa, have begun pushing to keep the raw materials in the continent. In June this year, South African President Mr. Jacob Zuma approved South Africa's 10 commodity beneficiation strategy, which sets out to leverage long-term benefits from the country's substantial mineral endowment. The beneficiation strategy centers on 10 commodities and 5 value chains, with chrome ore and stainless steel among the identified commodities requiring a beneficiation. Beneficiation has become one of the major drivers in advancing the empowerment of historically disadvantaged communities in South Africa, presenting opportunities for development in various aspects of the mining industry. Beneficiation involves a range of different activities, including large-scale, capital-intensive smelting, sophisticated refining plants, and labor-intensive processes such as craft jewelry, metal fabrication, and ceramic pottery. In order to develop this beneficiation strategy, a beneficiation body known as the MPBI-ASA was launched in October 2010. This is a Section 21 company that has been charged with the task of developing a viable strategy for implementing a beneficiation framework for mining in South Africa. At present, studies are in the infancy stage, although MPBI-ASA's president, Mr. Finis Mohlala, has suggested that it intends to develop a beneficiation framework for South Africa and use it as a blueprint for the rest of the continent. By pushing to import the finished goods abroad instead of raw materials, it is believed that this will bring more growth and opportunity to Africa, which in turn will boost growth for the continent as a whole. In April this year, Zimbabwe levied a ban on chrome ore with the intention of boosting local production. China imports around 28,000 tons per month directly from Zimbabwe and then consumes a further 28,000 tons of Zimbabwean ore, which is procured from South Africa. The logical question is whether South Africa is likely to levy a similar ban in order to realize their goal of beneficiation. In general, we believe that the Zimbabwean ban will be short-lived. Recent history has shown that banning commodities does not work. In the first quarter of 2010, India banned chrome ore exports to China, and in response, China simply substituted its Indian quotas for African imports. Not only then has China increased its chrome ore imports from South Africa, but this ban has led to the unintended consequence of Zimbabwean smelters being able to take advantage of local ore miners by purchasing Zimbabwean ore at extremely low prices, in some instances as low as $10 per ton. As a result, while South Africa is exploring all possibilities, and at this stage it is too soon to tell what actions may be taken to realize beneficiation, we feel it is unlikely that South Africa would ever levy a similar ban. Mineral beneficiation would have a tremendous impact on Africa's development and growth. However, the implementation of such a strategy is at present merely a theory, yet to be put into practice. Infrastructural shortcomings such as electrical supply and funding issues make beneficiation very difficult to realize. Although beneficiation projects currently underway are expected to begin taking effect in 2016, we anticipate a further 5 years is required for the strategy to truly come to fruition. During this next decade of African development, however, this push for local development could have a detrimental effect on foreign investments in the medium term. It is unlikely that the South African chrome industry will suffer any form of market intervention before this time, and chrome ore exports, discounting other hindrances such as strike actions and transportation issues, should continue unabated. This is clearly seen by South African chrome ore exports to China still managing to reach over 400,000 tons in May 2011. 2011 saw a very strong start for South African chrome ore exports to China, peaking at over 419,000 tons in January. The next 3 months saw a marked drop in South African chrome exports, dipping below 300,000 tons in April, its lowest level in 8 months. May's export increase, however, exhibited a 36.5% increase from April and is expected to maintain these higher levels throughout the next quarter. For more information on the chrome and ferrochrome industries, we invite you to purchase our quarterly report, which, thanks to Ferroalloynet, will now be available in Mandarin. Thank you and have a good day.